Fox 40 News at 10 starts now.
In the wake of multiple brazen stabbings, police in Sacramento are cracking down, embracing new technology to get answers for a community on edge. All efforts and eyes are looking for the man you see right there on your screen, believed to be behind the violent crimes. A cell phone jolt warned the community, but the search is just heating up. Nicole Comstock is live with more on how police are expanding their search. Nicole?
Tia, that cell phone jolt went out to thousands of people that live in this neighborhood. We are downtown near 10th Street, and today police came out here and set up some mobile surveillance cameras so that if this unfortunate and recurring crime does happen again, maybe this time they'll be able to identify a suspect. To catch a coward in the act, Sacramento police parked mobile surveillance cameras downtown near 10th Street, where two oddly specific and senseless crimes occurred.
It's a good thing they put the camera there just in case, like they're gonna, identify the suspect.
Pretty cowardly, and I don't know why anybody would want to hurt an old guy.
Two elderly Asian men were stabbed in the backs of their necks while walking down the same street at the same time of day for 2 Mondays in a row.
Hearing that people were stabbed right in the middle of the street, it's a pretty scary thing.
Police say those specific commonalities could be motivated by ageism or racism.
We don't have a specific motive at this time, but we're not ruling anything out.
Sacramento police are not only setting up these cameras, they're so concerned about the possibility of this crime occurring again, they sent out phone messages to 30,000 neighbors.
The Sacramento Police Department would like you to be aware of 2 assaults that have occurred in this area.
During those assaults, the suspect stabbed both men in what used to be Japantown. The first attack, a block from the Japanese American Citizens League. The second, a block from the Chinese Community Services Center.
It could just be a coincidence. It could just be somebody angry.
Regardless of the motive, neighbors want this guy off the streets. Victims described their attacker as a 30 to 50-year-old black male with a medium build, standing 5'7" to 6 feet tall.
I hope they catch him. I hope they find out who did it, because he's an idiot.
Now, luckily, both of those people who were stabbed did survive their injuries, but still the neighborhood here is very shaken up. If you have any information about who may have committed these crimes, contact police.
Let's hope that they track him down. Thank you so much for that, Nicole. Happening now, Americana in Old Sacramento. It's an event wrapped in controversy after replacing long-standing and lucrative tradition. Organizers say Gold Rush days used too much water to maintain and clean dirt-covered streets. A decision that took city officials and local businesses by surprise. Ben DC is live in Old Sacramento tonight. Ben, how is the event shaping up so far?
Well, Tia, the fireworks from the River Cats game just started going off. There is music, there is food, there is other forms of entertainment like car shows, things like that, and there are crowds. But according to people doing business here in Old Sacramento, it's nothing like it was this time last year.
Now, from where you're standing, the small, medium, and large. From where I'm standing, they all look the same, but of course...
Come on! It's a pretty good trick, making something small appear big in comparison. If you ask Cardini the Great here, it's a trick that's not working for Old Sac's Americana.
That's not the same, man. I mean, when you walked into Gold Rush days, you literally walked into the 1800s.
Yeah.
It looked it. It smelt it.
But Gold Rush Days was canceled without much notice after the Sacramento Visitors and Convention Bureau said it would just take too much water to wash the dirt off the streets. You know, for horse races and gunfights and such. The great Cardini would usually be playing a riverboat gambler.
Right now, I'm below 50, and it's 423. Last year, I put 100 in front of that.
Businesses in Old Sacramento aren't ringing up the sales either. Here at Candy Heaven, they're stuck with stock they bought now that plans for a sweet weekend have soured a bit.
We had no time to prepare, we already ordered the candy in advance and stuff, so yeah, it's kind of a big disappointment.
The Sacramento Visitors and Convention Bureau vows Gold Rush will be back. But for now, this year, no one's striking it rich. 100,000 people over the weekend for Gold Rush Days last year. Certainly not going to hit that this year at Americana, and not if the pace keeps up like this. But Americana is going to be going on all Labor Day weekend. If you appreciate fewer crowds, maybe come on down and enjoy it yourself.
All right, Ben DC, thank you for that. New at 10, 2 check and 2 cash clerks were robbed at gunpoint in Fairfield today by a man dressed in a pinstripe suit. Police say it's not the first time the store on North Texas Street has been robbed. In this case, none of the clerks were injured. Officials say they tripped the alarm after the gunman left on foot with the money.
They were shaken up a little bit, but pretty well composed for, considering what happened.
Police are reviewing surveillance video of that robbery and hope witnesses come forward that may have seen the gunman leaving the area. A man caught on camera suspected of multiple car thefts in Kirby Ranch in a neighborhood there of Roseville has been caught and cuffed. Officials say a neighboring agency arrested a man matching his description for an unrelated case. Officials say 5 cars they were broken into in that neighborhood. An investigation is currently underway. A live look at the Capitol tonight where not much is happening right now. That's because lawmakers ended their legislative session a day before their deadline. That session didn't end without a scramble to pass bills. And here's a look at some of the notable ones that were passed at the very last minute, now in the hands of the governor. The Isla Vista shooting rampage prompted AB 1014, which allows family members and law enforcement agencies to petition a judge for a restraining order to remove guns from people considered potentially dangerous. SB 270 is a ban on plastic bags. If approved by Governor Brown, it would be the first statewide ban of its kind. A provision was added to allow grocery stores to offer paper bags or a reusable bag for a minimum of a 10-cent fee. As students at colleges across the state head back to school, lawmakers passing a bill requiring colleges to enforce affirmative consent, also called the Yes Means Yes bill. It defines sexual consent as a conscious agreement to engage. And despite opposition, a new labor bill also sits on the governor's desk, giving paid sick days to hardworking individuals in every city in California. Rena Nakano has more tonight.
Assemblywoman Lorena Gonzalez kicks off her Labor Day weekend with a big political win, but she says it was a long, monstrous process.
It was kind of like facing Godzilla.
Friday into Saturday, Sacramento lawmakers pulled an all-nighter to pass the Assemblywoman's bill, AB 1522. This gives all California workers the right to earn and use 3 paid sick days a year, either for themselves or their dependents.
The single mom who's just struggling to make ends meet and has to really think, do you pick up your kid from school or do you stay home with your child when they're sick and take them to the doctor and risk losing your job or risk losing a day's pay?
Currently, 6.5 million Californians, mostly in the retail and restaurant industries, face this fear. AB 1522 will now allow every Californian to accrue 1 hour of paid sick leave for every 30 hours worked. For a year, the bill faced major opposition, the biggest from the California Chamber of Commerce that listed it as a job killer bill, something they say would potentially stunt job growth in the state. The chamber still maintains their opposition of the bill. However, after much negotiation, they did take the bill off their job killer list on Friday afternoon.
We were taking on both business and labor. We were taking on the governor, the legislature, to get to a bill that, while not perfect, that's the most expansive sick leave policy for workers in the nation.
Proponents say this type of bill was proven effective in Connecticut at the state level and San Francisco at the city level. They say it's led to a healthier workforce and provided workers a huge medical cost benefit. Just before 4 a.m. Saturday, lawmakers voted 52 to 25 in favor of the bill. Governor Jerry Brown already announcing he will sign it into law.
For a woman who was a labor leader and came to this legislature because I said I wanted to change people's lives, in particular in the workplace, in particular women, there is no better weekend to be celebrating paid sick days than Labor Day.
And Governor Jerry Brown issued the following statement after the passage of AB 1522, saying, quote, "Tonight, the legislator took historic action to help hardworking Californians. This bill guarantees that millions of workers won't lose their jobs or pay just because they get sick. Crews raced to the scene of a grass fire in Sacramento today, one of multiple that sparked throughout the city. It happened near Garden Highway and Truxell Road. Firefighters were able to contain the flames to 1.5 acres, but they had to bring in a dozer and knock down trees to stop it from spreading. No word on how it started, but no one was injured battling the flames. At the same time that fire broke out, so did this one in Rio Linda. Metro fire units were able to contain this fire to 4 acres near Dry Creek. Officials still trying to figure out how it sparked. And just a few hours ago, a third fire started in Sacramento, this one by a car that went off the road. It happened at Northgate and Del Paso Boulevard. Crews were able to mop it up before any major damage was done. The cause is still under investigation tonight. New video showing a new view of the massive 6.0 earthquake that rattled Napa almost 1 week ago. It was captured by cameras at the commissary building at the train yard for the Napa Valley Wine Train. The city continuing to rebuild, celebrating success along the way. At last check, 153 structures have been red tagged in Napa. Water restored to all residents. Damage to the city of Napa is estimated to sit at $300 million. Both of Napa's post offices are struggling to make do after they sustained damage severe enough to keep them closed. Postal employees set up mail trucks to continue to provide service to customers. For those who pick up their mail from post office boxes, makeshift facilities have been set up in the parking lots of both locations. And today the post office offered extended hours. Managers say they are also looking at other temporary facilities while they assess the damage to both buildings. And 2 Napa wineries came together today to celebrate their community. They called it the Aftershock Party. It brought together people looking for a break from recovery. The event had wine, food, and a little music. It raised money for the Napa Food Bank.
This is not some foreign conflict thousands of miles from home that we can hope to ignore.
As Britain raises its terror threat alert to the second highest level, U.S. citizens are now raising questions about President Barack Obama's response to ISIS and whether the threat level should be raised here too. This as the U.S. carries out humanitarian airdrops to the Iraqi town of Amarili, cut off by ISIS fighters. President Barack Obama says he's not ready to commit to fighting ISIS with airstrikes in Syria, but Britain clearly feeling the pressure that ISIS could strike it at home. The new warning means an attack is highly likely. U.S. and European security services believe ISIS fighters are back at several locations in Europe, but those cells may not be under direct ISIS orders. U.S. officials say they don't believe there is a cell in this country.
I think that our European allies feel a greater sense of urgency. I think they feel as if the threat is closer to home right now, and for us it's more of a distant issue.
Well, for now, U.S. officials aren't planning any changes. The Department of Homeland Security says it's unaware of any specific credible threat from ISIS. Well, crime tape swinging in the wind after a brutal beating at this park 4 months ago. The crime now sparking change. A charity has no choice but to pack up and move out. We have their story coming up. And NASCAR's Tony Stewart returns to racing weeks after a deadly accident killed a fellow race car driver. Just ahead, we're hearing from Stewart as he prepares to face his demons head on.